Oh, of course. It shows everybody right from the very start. Okay, everybody, hang on, hang on. I'm going to pretend like I didn't just reveal the whole thing. Hold on, hold on. All right, everybody, welcome to a very special episode. We are on episode 57. I'll put up the slide here. We are on episode 57 of Axie Chat. We're very, very excited to be here today, and we have a very special. Oh yeah, we do. I've got Enjoi. There we go. Yeah. So as you saw, even though I didn't really want you to see, we've got an awesome group of people here today, and we're going to talk about Axie. We're going to talk about origins of Axie. We're going to talk about some people, who've been in for a long time, people who are heavily involved in the Axie community, and it is going to be a great time. We're really, really looking forward to this. Before we get going, especially since today is going to have a whole lot of different people.
This content is for informational and entertainment purposes only. You shouldn't construe any such information or material as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. We have no responsibility for your decisions, are not game devs, and our opinion could be flawed. Axie hard.
And perfect. So that new disclaimer also was provided to us by Newfound, so super happy about that, and is a fun one to have available to us too. Okay, so I'm gonna open up the floodgates here, and we are now live with audio with our whole group of the roundtable. Enjoi, why don't you start us off and say hello?
Yeah, welcome everybody. Glad to be back. Glad to have everybody here tonight. This is awesome. It's great seeing people. In the flesh. It's still through a monitor, but it's it's cool actually doing this face to face with people that I've been talking to for a long time. This is a really special night. There's been a lot of questions about where this thing's going and what the overall what is the point of this? What has brought people together into this great new play to earn thing that we're trying to build together? And I think there's a lot of interesting perspective behind the group that we put together here tonight. Everybody's been involved with the game for a long time and also has their own kind of specialty and just area that they've excelled in or can shine some light into. So I think it's going to be really nice to be able to get that perspective and see what everybody's thinking. And we've got some great questions lined up.
Absolutely. And to get us started, we just want to introduce all the people that we have here. And let's see. Let's start down with Lucid. Lucid, let us know how you first got involved with Axie, and let us know what you see moving forward for Axie, just kind of briefly.
I got involved with Axie back in 2018. I started mining in 2017 and got into CryptoKitties at the end of that year. Kind of flipped around other projects and actually almost missed Axie the first time until a friend told me to look again. I popped in Discord and chatted with the people in there for many hours until they convinced me that they're really dedicated to changing the things not only in crypto space but gaming in general.
Excellent. All right, let's move over to Wiz. Wiz, why don't you let us know how you got involved with Axie, and what about you, and what are you excited about?
All right, so I'm Wiz, also known as DJ to some, and basically I got involved in Axie after Delphi made the purchase of their Mystics. I almost overlooked it, and I started to dive deep, and I got some help from somebody that's in this chat, Enforcer, who basically gave me the play-by-play, and I went head in first, and I purchased some Genesis land and a few Mystics, and the rest is history.
Perfect.
And I'm most excited about land,
Heck yeah.
land gameplay when it launches. I think the SDK that's going to be built is going to be revolutionary as we see these autonomous corporations develop, and I think we'll see a shift from a lot of legacy job operations shift to the play to earn method, and yeah.
Perfect. All right. Well, let's go to Turd. I just absolutely love your avatar, and I love your name, man. It's just awesome. Tell us a little bit about how you got involved in
Oh,
Axie.
oh, thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. Actually, I got into crypto around in 2017, and kind of latched to this one crypto YouTuber who goes by Chico, and towards like the end of I think 2017, actually no, I think it was 2018. I was just randomly pop into his live stream, and he was like, and he was watching. He was literally betting on mice races that somebody had. They had set up video cameras. These mice run through tubes to get the cheese. We get the cheese the fastest. And he mentioned he was like, the next level is like play to earn video games. I don't know. I just struck a chord in my head, and I was like, wait, what is that? And I just started diving in and into this article by Siddhartha. And it went all deep dive into Axie, and never looked back. It was like after I saw all the other things, there wasn't really anything else that compared to it. So
Awesome.
I just went for it. Here we are.
Awesome. All right, Arctic, you're up next. How did you get involved with Axie?
Hello, everyone. So I found Axie on Reddit. I saw Ginger, Kotaro, and Puff, and I was just immediately in love with their images. So I clicked on the link, found the website, and then immediately I decided I have to join the Discord and find out more. So I joined, and I believe that was February 2018. And then from then on, I quickly became a community moderator and just a really active community member. Loved the scene, and I stopped doing that in 2020 when I dropped out of college to go crypto full time, and just ever since then I've been studying Axie, other things, just general crypto space investing. So yeah.
Awesome. Excellent. All right, let's see. Did things get you? Oh no. All right, Enforcer. Why don't we hear a little bit from you, man?
It's actually interesting. So my crypto journey started. I was first person streaming Apex on Twitch and D Live. Coco Bear popped in the stream and asked me if I would be interested in streaming Axie, and he donated me $17 worth of ETH and 6 Axie, and that was in 2019, and that's what started my Axie/crypto journey.
That is such an awesome story. I can't wait to hear more. We've got good questions for everybody. And AK, I love the tiger, man. Just love it. Tell us again a little bit more about you and how you got into the Axie space.
Thanks. I figured I had to bring the tiger back. And yeah, so I got into Axie in March of 2019. A friend of mine, essentially, I was sort of exploring around the crypto space, just interested in sort of what what can we actually use blockchain for that's interesting and actually in production. And I was playing a few other games. Most of them were terrible. And a friend of mine said, "Hey, you should really check out Axie. I think you'd enjoy it." He was right. I joined in March 2019. I've been here since then, and definitely looking forward to land the most. I think when I first joined, I bought two Arctic plots from chests, and that was the only land that I bought from chests from the wholesale. Actually, everything else was all secondary, all later on.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I prepared a few questions. I shared them with the folks here in this roundtable. But before I do that, I always like to ask Enjoi, are there any particular things that you have on your mind, or any particular questions that you have for any of our roundtable members that are important that I missed because you saw my list of questions? Something biting, something that you think maybe would be important right now on everybody's minds.
More something that I noticed as we went around the circle just now. There's a trend here of most of the people were brought in and lured in by the idea of land gameplay, and more than that, the idea of what a game like this could do. I think it was Wiz who mentioned the SDK. Like, once you open this up to other people's creativity, how broad this could get. And it's interesting right now to hear that, because obviously there's a lot of focus around the current battle system, SLP, and that's really what people are lasered in on. But all of us, and this is maybe part of the point of this conversation is talk about this. Is we were in here several years back waiting for land play. It's still not released, and there's good reason for it. But what's kept you guys going? What's kept you guys interested? If that was the main point of interest, why are you still sticking around? Is it faith in the team? Is it just that overall promise still? There's other games coming out. What are your thoughts?
Hey, Wiz, go.
One thing that sticks out that I realize is there are a lot of empty promises that happen in crypto. And one thing that I love about the Axie team and Sky Mavis is they don't talk. They just work and they produce. And they have a track record. We've seen that many, many times. And I think they're genuine people. And again, they're thinking long term. And I think anybody that's also thinking long term will A, benefit, and B, will be around in the future for what's really going to happen. I mean, we're at what, 1.8 million users? What happens when we're at 200 million users or even a billion users? This landscape is going to look completely different. So I think a lot of the guys here, that's the same vision that they have. And I think anybody else that shares that same vision, they'll understand and they'll be around for the glory that's to come with Axie Infinity and the other games that the team decides to bring to light.
Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes the team gets really, really ambitious. I'll just jump in here for just a second. And it's neat to see their ambition. It's neat to see their ideas. It's neat to see, what they have in mind that they would like to see in a cool game, especially land. But sometimes those ambitions are maybe a little bit bigger than what's practical or what's realistic when it comes down to it. And I don't know if you guys listened to Psychout's interview. I would highly recommend anybody who's listening to us to hop on and listen to that Business Builders interview. It was absolutely incredible. And he kind of mentioned that land in its first iteration may be similar to something we see like Clash of Clans. And to me, that's awesome. That's exciting. Clash of Clans plus blockchain asset ownership would be absolutely incredible. And I don't think he's saying it's going to be exactly like Clash of Clans or anything like that. But will land actually have, you know, some of the things they talked about initially? Well, yeah, I think maybe over years of time and development we'll get closer and closer to that. But the reality is we were looking at, I mean, Enjoi or others here, what did Jiho say he was hoping for adoption by the end of this year? I think it was 250,000. And now we're getting closer and closer to 2 million. Psych Out regularly talked about this kind of 1.9 billion figure within a few years of kind of where maybe the natural growth rate gets us to. And what does that mean? And all of those things, and I don't really care if people say things like positive toxicity or whatever that is supposed to mean. I'm going to remain positive. I'm going to stay positive, and you know, a current SLP price issue is nothing compared to the potential of 1.9 billion players in a game where users own assets and can be involved with finding profitability in assets. And so I wanted to start with some questions for some maybe of our who here is the most OG? Who's been here the absolute longest? I was thinking it might be. I know Enjoi got in around the land sale. No, you were here before that a little bit, right, Enjoi?
Yeah, I was a little bit, but I think it was Lucid. You know, I stepped my toes in. I played the auto battler game for a little bit. I didn't see the vision, so I didn't stick around.
Right.
And then they lured me back in. Yeah.
They lured me back in. Can't ever get out.
I bought
it's
my
going to be
first.
Arctic. I think it's Arctic or
Yeah,
Enjoi.
I think
or,
it's
Lucid.
Arctic.
Yeah, I bought my first Axies January 17th of 2019.
Wow.
Very beginning of 2019.
That's
I've been here since February 20th, 2018. I think it was the second day the pre-sale went live, and back then you couldn't even see your Axie or anything. You know, you were pretty much just buying a voucher to claim a plant, an aquatic, or a beast. But yeah, that's how long I've been here. So it's been quite a while, but I remember that first day well.
I think Arctic wins. That's
That's incredible.
He's
Right at the
definitely he
pre-sale.
was in the Discord when I joined. I also joined during the pre-sale. And regarding waiting for land, I also want to point out, like, when this all started, like Arctic said, you couldn't even see your Axie. We didn't know what parts were. We didn't know they'd have moves or anything like that. So land for some of us is just a growth thing that's happened over time. It wasn't even originally. They were talking about having individual terrariums for each Axie. It wasn't this big expanded thing, world for everyone to play in together. So they've come a long way and grown a lot. And even for AAA game companies, big companies that make games and put them out every year, they spend years planning, building, and creating. And Axie Infinity and Sky Mavis have to build a lot of the technology that underlies all this stuff. So waiting for that for me is not an issue at all.
100%.
Looking forward to it.
Guys, I just want to throw one thing out. When I was advertising this, there were, there's definitely a segment of the population that's riled up right now with SLP prices, and some people were saying that we're just out here to make Sky Mavis look good, which is not the case. I just want to put it out there. Like, feel free to be critical if you're feeling a certain type of way. But one thing that I do want to say, because it does come up quite a bit, is like, the team could easily, with how frothy the markets are right now, the team could easily just put out something simple like terrariums. They could go with the original vision and cash in pretty big. But it seems like they've always made these decisions to continue growing on top of what they've done previously, and benefiting their all the people who have joined previous to whatever that next moment was. And that's my experience. So I'll just throw that on top of what Lucid said.
Awesome.
On that,
Yeah.
Axie really has such cycles where the market gets hot. Everybody all of a sudden remembers, hey, Axie is awesome, has been here for a long time, and I really want to join. and then things cool off a little bit, and in many cases, in all honesty, this is, I guess, I will be a little critical here, in the sense that the team hasn't always been good at communication, right? Their more recent sort of development updates and communication style actually comes out of some backlash around how they were communicating before, and so I think they're doing better for sure, but they still have a ways to go. There's to some extent, being able to point to something shiny is not always possible. But I think the assumption that everyone knows that and is capable of realizing that is sometimes a little challenging.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
AK,
the,
yeah, I love what
yeah.
you're
Sorry, go
saying.
ahead.
No, you're fine. I love what you're saying, and it makes sense. And I agree. They have improved, right? They give us a monthly development update, which they had failed to do for a long, long time. In fact, it was a while after I got into the space before that started happening on a regular basis, and now we get that. But there is a balance, right? And I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. Just to follow up, there's a balance between giving too much information, and even Psych Out talked about that. Like we have these mimickers, we have these copycats, we have people who are at Monster Infinite, and I hate even bringing them up because God, I don't want to give them any play. But on the other hand, like, there are reasons why you kind of have a black box. I'm not a huge J.J. Abrams fan, but there are reasons why you do need to keep some things from the audience in order to make sure that it's going to play well. It's going to be intriguing. There's going to be some curiosity as to what's going to happen into the future. But what parts of the communication, I guess, would you like to see improved?
So for me, I think it's sort of it's essentially remembering that when Ronin launched, we had 40,000 daily active users, and we have almost 2 million now, right?
Yeah.
So that's 95, 98. I don't know. I'm not a math tiger. 98% of all the current users, have sort of joined the game in the last 3 or 4 months. And to Wiz's point earlier, this is a team that has delivered on their promises and delivered a product that works and is functional and has almost 2 million users over a period of 3 years. And so I think even just being able to remind people of that, to sort of push even the history of delivering a little bit, would be helpful, because
I think I see what you're
it's
saying.
easy during a bull market when everybody is launching everything. There's a new shiny thing tomorrow and the next day and so on, to have a week feel like an eternity, and to assume that every team who's in the space is the same. And that's absolutely not true. And that's something that Sky Mavis has shown us over and over and over again, is that they're not a random profile picture team. They've built a working product that is good, has active usage, and they're actively building more.
Excellent. Yeah.
I think,
so yeah, I'm going to cut
it's
you off.
hard for them
AK.
it's hard for them to show to show all their work.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't think that's a reasonable task.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think it's really hard, because you almost have to like blast it in people's faces for them to get it, because the information, I think, is out there, and sometimes I get maybe a little bit over the top, a little bit grumpy about others and how they interact with the space, because in my view the information's there. It's just people aren't seeking out the information that already is there and in existence. But on this point, though, one of the folks here that's been here for quite a long time, and that's Turd. So Turd, I'm going to go to you first. And you've been around for a long time, and you have been on this path for quite some time. There's probably been some ups and downs, and in what you've experienced so far. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your path, some of the things that you feel like have been challenges and some of the things that have been successes?
Yeah, man. I mean, I got in right before that huge 2017 crash, maybe like 3 months or so. And I held. I didn't do anything. I wasn't an Axie yet, but I had the mental fortitude to like just stick it out and like it's gonna get better. Like learning about cycles and how all of it, just like regular market, it runs in cycles. This current cycle we are in is it's a bear cycle, and it's probably going to be very small. And you just have to like you have to just put things in perspective and in the long term. Just think in the long term. I'm not here till tomorrow. I don't have any plans of exiting. I'm gonna be with Axie for the next 5, 10 years at least. I mean, you say it all the time as well. I have nothing to worry about in that aspect. And it's like it's the people say it all the time. You should never gamble or like you should never invest in something you can't afford to lose. You should be willing to, at that very point, be able to lose it all and be able to provide for yourself and be okay with that mentally. That's the thing is like moving forward with stuff like that, you just, be prepared for it. And like the disclaimer you had earlier, for like at every show, that I feel like everybody should have to listen to a disclaimer just to enter the crypto space. Just be like, all right, are you ready? 'Cause you could lose it all. You could make it. You could make all your dreams come true.
At
Yeah.
the
Where you're
very
gonna
least,
go.
have a disclaimer. At the very least.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
as far as trials, I'm fine. I'm just riding the wave, man.
Yeah.
Enjoying it.
Have there
Here with
been
you guys.
times though? I mean, come on, Turd. There has to have been times when like
Oh,
you'd
yeah.
hope.
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, it definitely like. I remember when I spent like 3 ETH on like a ramp farm and then saw it like plummet to like they were all like they got flooded and they're like 0.05 and I was like it was like oh well that kind of sucks but I was like well it's just gonna mean that it's gonna take me like another extra month to get my money back just keep it moving like I entered actually with a very modest amount of and I over the years just grinded it really hard I was a grinder and I just kept like funneling all that just filtering straight back into the ecosystem and built an empire just just literally just doing my dailies then some every single day. Years, 2 years now? I mean, I don't do them anymore, but for the first year and a half, I was heavy into it.
Yeah, yeah. So on the flip side, what and we've heard people talk about land, but what I guess gets you excited? What do you expect, even maybe more from here? We see the roadmaps. There are time frames. There are things that are set forth. But like, what type of expectations would do you have? Because I love your investment philosophy. It makes a lot of sense.
I'm really excited for land play, man. That's what I'm looking forward to. Just because like we have this enormous community now, like that we've established, and we all interact on Discord, and we actually it's like actually itself like has not become this cooperative game. You're one-on-one battling people, or you're in adventure mode by yourself. Like we're gonna actually have a whole metaverse to explore together and interact with each other, and that's really the coolest part to me. It's like I've been building with it, like in my community as far as like my scholarship program. I've been like just getting so hype and just like getting them ready and like getting us prepared for the next step. And I can speculate all day, and I always do. Just get lost in dreamland, but we're getting there. I'm patient.
I love it.
I'm here. Take your time. It's gonna be better. The longer we wait, I feel like the more polished the outcome will be.
Man, I really hope everybody heard what Turd just said. Like, I know it's frustrating, and I know especially people who are used to seeing cycles in the PFP bullshit that AK talked about happening within days to maybe at the most weeks. And so it's hard to be involved with a project that doesn't see things that way. But that is what this project is, and frankly, again, I don't really give a shit anymore if people are talking about this positive toxicity and crap like that. Like, the longer it goes, the longer the team has to perfect these things. And right now, nobody's actually like in dire straits unless you made bad investment decisions. The longer it goes, actually, the better the payoff is going to be in the long term. So, yeah.
So, well, one last thing on that. Do you remember those long dry periods of just insane Ethereum gas fees that we just couldn't breed through? Like,
Yeah.
there's just like there's like months of like the breeding renaissance where it's like $20 a breed, but then you get hit with those $100 like 100 gas fees. It's like you're paying $1.50 to breed one breed. It just wasn't just like sustainable or profitable at
And
all.
that's when
So I was
Axies
like,
were
I was
only
6
worth
months, I
about
couldn't read.
$40 a piece.
Right, and that's a great point. Enforcer and Turd together, like, we're talking about a time when sometimes freaking the gas fee was as much or more than what was happening in the market. So it was kind of crazy. You had to have a lot of faith to go ahead and breed Axies at certain times in this endeavor. And what's crazy is, people are really bitching about whether things are how profitable they are, not whether they're profitable for the most part. Enjoi, is that right? I mean,
Yeah, I think that's right. I'm over here laughing because this reminds me of like my grandpa saying, "Hey, I used to walk to school uphill both ways in the snowstorm." It's kind of true, right? Like we've encountered these weird situations in this game where everything was so much more difficult, and like this is what gets me excited is I've seen these things like where we had no idea, and this is what this team tends to do is they tend to like kind of obscure you from what the plan is for a good reason, right? They don't want to give away their positioning in the market, or they don't want to get people too overly excited and then blow it, or whatever. But like before there was the current battles game, there was an auto battles game that you had to press the button, wait for it to play out, and then you had to watch the recording afterwards to see who won. Like it wasn't really even a game at that point. And then they launched the current battle system, and that's when they released SLP. And at that point, play to earn wasn't a thing. So that introduced this whole new thing that made playing the game worthwhile, made having Axies worthwhile. And then they released Axis, which did something, and then they released Ronin, which, like you were just saying, completely changed the game with how breeding was done, and really opened up the floodgates for all these new people to join, because now you weren't spending $150 in gas to do one breed. You were just spending the SLP and the access cost. So what I look forward to is kind of what is the next step, and what's that going to do for the overall economy.
So
and you talking about that, Turd, just really kind of brought that back to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Go.
Could I add?
Wiz, then AK. Yeah, perfect.
Basically what I just wanted to say is like, so when I fell in love with gaming, RuneScape was the first game that I played, that I really, really played. I skipped school to play it, and just being able to, woodcut in RuneScape and then take those U logs that was a resource, and then convert that into a bow, and then bring that to the Grand Exchange, and then sell that on the Grand Exchange, or sell that to another player that had a certain value, and they were able to use that in battle, and that item itself had certain bonuses that it would give your character. Like, just thinking about something like that in legacy gaming, and now like we're in Web3, we're in play to earn, like incorporating that to real use case and value, and also like items that actually are owned by the players. That's an entirely different scope that we haven't seen before. So going back to what I was saying about what I was excited for, that's something else that I'm stoked about, and I can't wait, because I think the team is going to hit it spot on and deliver.
Oh, hell yeah.
When it comes to that.
Yeah, and we'll go to AK in just a second, but I just wanted to point out that Psychout specifically in that interview talked about wood as a token and exchanging wood in the decks, and I just want to point that out.
Knock it off, baronar.
I loved it so much. I was gonna have a clip, but we were so busy getting everything ready, and for this roundtable, I didn't have the clip, but I will get that clip. Yep, I will get that clip. All right, hey AK, what did you want to add?
I had nothing about wood. Well, actually, sort of tangentially about wood, which is that the game as we see it today is only 10 or 15% finished, right? If that. And so to that end, the idea that SLP and Axis are the only tokens that are ever going to exist, number one, and number two, that they are the only ways that people will be able to play, earn, and participate in the game, are both fundamentally incorrect and wrong in many, many, many different ways. And so, part of, I guess, looking forward to land gameplay, and part of wood, right, is this idea that there's other ways to play to earn, there's other components that are being built, and the battle system and the game that we see today just isn't, you know, final form of what Axie Infinity is going to look like. And so, the more time that's spent building that out now, and the more, I guess, thought and care is put into building an economy first and a game sort of on top of that economy, the better, in my opinion.
Yeah. Cool.
As much as I'd like to, buy Baronar's wood today.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, speaking.
Actually, can I say something about that?
Yeah, I was gonna move over to Enforcer anyway.
Yeah.
No, not my wood. Hold on.
No, wait. You can bring your wood over here if you'd like to, Brandon. What I would like to add to Wiz and AK's talk about, wood and the whole selling stuff on RuneScape is, that RuneScape's how I began my gaming career as well, and I PK'd and market sold pretty much whatever I bought and or whatever I killed for, and that's the whole thing that's going on right now is Axie is in the developmental stage that RuneScape was in the very beginning. And then as RuneScape developed further, you had PKing. And then with PKing become more people that sold stuff on the market. And then they developed even further. And as more tokens become available for Axie, the whole play to earn system is going to go even further now. Like you see several other games that are doing play to earn, and if you really look into it, or actually take some time to play it, you realize that the system that they have is not sustainable for the most part. But what Axie has right now is not only sustainable, but provides income for millions, a million people currently. And then when you add the land gameplay tokens to what is happening right now, it's going to amplify that. And Psychout talks about 1.9 billion, and if we ever get to there, then these podcasts are going to be super irrelevant because none of us are ever going to be talking on Twitch again. but with those extra tokens, we'll develop more play to earn systems than I think people realize. And as we get to that point, all the naysayers, I suppose is the best word for it, will slowly understand like what the early believers feel and know what's going to happen, because I think AK brought up a little bit about how the team's communication was not always the greatest. And, as far as like letting us know how developments were going, there were so many early believers that just decided to take a hike because, the communication wasn't up to their standards, and well, now they've either bought back in at a much higher level than what they sold for, or they're on the outside looking in going, damn, I really wish I didn't sell, because the team may not have communicated the best, but they always delivered. And that's what separates Sky Mavis from all of the other companies currently that are doing play to earn, where they release a video of what's upcoming, or what may be, or something like that, but not really delivered a product. Sky Mavis Axie Infinity has delivered a product that shows that it's sustainable. And it may maybe not be sustainable at 40-cent SLP like it was whenever our first hype hit, but it's sustainable to the point where we're still 3-4 times what we were at this point last year whenever everything was launched. I think Turd posted a infographic earlier, and
2.5 cent
it's
SLP.
Pretty crazy.
Yep.
It's actually crazy.
Yeah, and I've said it before. I don't mind saying it here either. I just feel like we're kind of in a lull. It's not like things are bad. Things are still moving forward. Things are still pretty good. Things are still, frankly, great for a lot of people who would want to do. I mean, there's no slowdown in scholarship requests in my view, not one bit. So there's still plenty of people who are interested in getting involved in the game at what were we at, 6 cents, something like that today. Maybe it even dropped below 6 cents for a minute. I don't know where it is right this minute. But Enforcer, one thing I wanted to ask you, because you've kind of gotten a reputation as being someone who can connect people and get deals done and that type of stuff. Like, what is your view, Enforcer, of that? Do you still see people that are interested in getting into the space? I know that for personal reasons we won't get into, you haven't really been an active connector of those things, but there's still tons of people that want to do that. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I have between 3 and 7 people a day, and 7 is kind of a low number, but on average, that message me and ask me, how can they get involved? How can I help them? And unfortunately, right now, due to personal reasons, like things have slowed down a little bit for me, but there are so many individuals that are looking to get involved in land, Mystic Axie, scholarship programs, that it's unbelievable. I've been involved in gaming my entire life. I was a professional Halo gamer whenever I was, from the age of 19 to 21. So like I know how games develop and I know how they come along. And I've actually never seen a more divisive group that are like, I want to spend my money in this community right now. How can I do it? Ever at all. I'm 32, so that's been 12 years. And that's what drives me to stay in Axie Infinity. I joined the Discord back in January of, actually, it might have been December of 2018, December of 2018 or January of 2019, and then actually joined Axie in March, whenever things leveled out on the blockchain that I was streaming on. And Coco, donated $17 to me. Um, and things were much different then, like there was a bidding system for land whenever it came out. Like Axie were you could sell Axie for less than what it took to breed them. And to see that people are now making profitable decisions if smartly used, even if you use it dumbly, to be honest, in a game is pretty impressive, because I've never seen anything like that. I
Yeah,
think that the amount of people that are willing to put their money, I guess, where their proverbial mouth is insane.
right.
And it's not minimal amount of money.
Oh yeah,
There's people there's people with hundreds of ETH that message me and like, hey, how can I buy land that will make it best for me? You know, and that's daily.
that's awesome.
Not every other day, not weekly, but like daily. I get a message where someone's like, hey, I have more than 100 ETH that I need to spend on land, Mystic Axie. What do you think that I should spend it on? And
Yeah,
it's really hard. It's hard for me to be just not like, hey, buy the fucking floor,
yeah,
because generally that's what my response is, because lots of people are selling currently because ETH price is going down, or
fear.
there's several content creators that are talking about SLP price, which in my opinion is not as important as a lot of people are making it out to be. I do realize that people use that to earn money
Yeah,
monthly for their families, but Axie is much more than what SLP price is, like much more. And I do
100%.
believe that if people were to look at the developmental stages of Axie and how they've delivered, not even based on their communications, but how they've delivered over the years from 2019 to now, compared to all other games. I could list several. Gods Unchained, Star Atlas is a new one, and it's one that went like good and then, well, not so good. Zombies and plants, and like there's so many. There's so
Yeah,
many
yeah,
that have play to earn uh objectives that are not sustainable. But the people behind Sky Mavis and Axie Infinity are some of the most intelligent people that I've ever talked to.
yeah.
And I've been chatting with them for years. So I do believe that they deliver because they have. constantly, and I at one point just told people to market buy. They just market buy, and they
Yeah.
do. I still tell people to market buy, and they do.
Yeah.
Um,
All right, we're
and I
gonna
think that will continue.
yep, absolutely. We're gonna switch it up because something that you said kind of triggered in my mind that we're gonna talk to Arctic next, and that's because what do you do when the market's kind of slow? What do you do when I mean, there are other things too. This actually makes me think of AK too. We'll get to AK on his subject, but one of the things that I've really loved to see is when things are maybe not being released, or if we're having scaling issues and things are not going as fast as we'd hoped, maybe things are even not on track with the roadmap, because of things that have come up, because we are on the bleeding edge, as Ziori and others have said. We are on the literally bleeding edge. We're beyond the cutting edge. We're in a situation where this is unknown technology, but there are cool things that can be done. And one of the things that I've seen Arctic doing is some great art competitions. In fact, our next Founders Pass, not Founders, the Quarterly Pass. Good luck getting a Founders Pass. The Quarterly Pass, we were able to find someone from an art contest that Arctic had run. And the art is freaking awesome. Maybe we'll have something to show there today too. But
Yeah, no
Arctic,
kidding. Good luck getting no kidding. Good luck getting one of those passes because I tried and they are ridiculous.
yeah, people like to hang
uh,
on to them. So we're very
they do. You have some hodlers in this group, man.
yeah. Yeah, we're grateful for the demand there. And again, it doesn't benefit us tons either, really. We, other than the initial. And thank you so much for your support for our Axie Chat. And so, Arctic, what I wanted to ask you, I wanted to ask you more about, the art scene, what you see happening, and I would hope if you would hit on it from both inside Axie Infinity, and then what you've seen in just the content creator community. What's got you the most excited? What are some of the things that you've seen that you've really liked? And tell us a little bit about the competitions that you've held.
Sure. So, I started trying to incentivize more community artwork. I guess fall of 2020. I was partnering with artists, and then I was going to sell their artwork, and I'd give them a percentage of the sales. But that felt more extractive than constructive, I guess, because I was making money on it. So I guess I stopped doing that, and then in, like, I guess, I don't know, middle of this year, I started noticing art competitions popping up, and specifically Bryson's art competition. That inspired me to also start doing some competitions of my own. And so I've run one so far, and I had 1,500 entries, which was
Jeez.
Wow.
yeah, it was pretty overwhelming to judge. Honestly, it was way more than I thought. But I met so many incredible artists through these entries and interesting people. And also, like, I think one thing about all of these art competitions going on, my own and others, is that it's another way for people to get a start in this community. Like,
Yeah.
scholarships are one way for people around the world to get a start when they have nothing else to latch onto, and this is a way for people with artistic ability to put themselves out there and get a start, get a foundation for a little amount of money that they can then build on. But yeah, I think going forward, artists are going to be super important for our community, right? Because with land, with the SDK, with guilds, scholarships, and everything, all of these people need artists to create, awesome graphics that attract people and inspire people. So I think right now, artists is just like something fun to look at on Twitter, something to brighten your day, another aspect of the community for artists to rally around, the art community. But in the future, I'm hoping that it will be, this will be the start of a real Axie artist industry
Yeah.
where people are well known, and you can partner with them, work with them on whatever projects you want. Um, yeah, I also, one of my goals with art is to see it more, I want to see more cross pollination between the normal NFT space and the art NFT space, because I'm sure a lot of people have noticed that Axie Twitter and NFT Twitter are somehow insulated from each other, right? Um, Even though Axie is such a big NFT community, bigger than the entire NFT community at large, it's somehow a lot of people always overlook it. They don't include it when they're talking about art or other things, just even the general NFT timeline. So I'm hoping that of these artists who win these art competitions get a name in the Axie art space, they can also I guess grow where they are into the normal NFT space. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's a growing industry, and I hope that for or mini games too. You know, like I think a lot of people are talking about. Or there have been a lot of mini games in the past. There will be mini games in the future, and we need awesome artists to make these mini games feel alive. And some maybe some people will outsource that art to, I don't know, Fiverr or wherever else, but I think it'd be much more interesting if we could have all these artists come from in-house, like from the Axie community, because just historically the Axie community has been the ones who created some of the coolest things, not people from the outside trying to build in for us, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. You know, one of the things that I've been really proud of and interested to see has been the Masamune is just incredible, and in my view, every iteration that we've seen some releases from what appears to be Axie Origin or Battles version 2. Every time we see kind of leaks, he just is upping his game with respect to the in-game art for Axie community. Also, the website was just incredible. Do you have an opinion there? Are there any things that you're hoping for or excited for as far as art inside the game?
Yes, absolutely. So we've already seen some art upgrades to the parts, right? So there were the original Mystic parts, and then I think about half of them got a refresh in, what was it, 2018 or 2019? I can't remember, but about half of them got a refresh where now they look a lot better than they did before. Some of them were pretty bland, almost indistinguishable from the normal Mystic part. But I remember an early conversation I had with Masamune. We were talking about the Bubble Maker aquatic ears, and he just said in passing, like, "Oh yeah, down the line, we're hoping that these bubble ears are actually animated and they make bubbles. Little bubbles will come out," and that really caught my imagination as to, you know, what will our Axie look like in 5 years or whatever, with of course with upgrading the parts, that's going to change the way they look. But even just the normal parts, I think that long term there is a commitment to make these Axies look as alive as possible. So yeah, things like the Bubble Maker ears being animated, and then you could probably look at just about every part and wonder, like, how could this be animated in a more interesting way? How could the art be upgraded? Well, and even in some of the teasers, right? We've seen that it looks like Axies are they sit on the ground now instead of floating. It looks
Yeah.
like in some of these teasers. So that's a big art change too, right? A big, so yeah, I think when it comes to Axie art, uh, they've been working on this for over 3 years now, and we haven't seen that many art leaks compared to the amount of artists they have and the amount of time they've spent. So I think there's a lot in the cards for how Axies are going to change in the future and just look so much more expressive, so much more cute, and so much more collectible.
Yeah, and not to mention that it looks like they're going to have legs and arms too, potentially in some evolution state as well. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow,
Yeah,
Arctic.
I actually had
Yeah, go.
had somebody right at the beginning. I'm sorry, I'm gonna make it really quick. So like when everybody like the thick of the scholarships, like everybody was like blasted everybody in the DMs. I had somebody apply to my scholarship by giving like by make designing a logo for my scholarship, and it's still my logo. And I was so amazed. I was like, "You're skipping the line. You're instantly in." That was amazing, and I've never had anything that like so original happen. So I just love the art.
See, you know, Turd, that's an excellent point. I think sometimes people are like, how do I get a scholarship? How do I be involved in Axie Infinity? How do I do all these things? Well, use your brain, use your skills, use your creativity. You'll find a way. Like, there are a lot of people. I mean, you just heard Enforcer's story, who he got lucky and got gifted just a minimal amount and then worked his tail off in order to build up a pretty awesome Axie empire over time. It's absolutely amazing. Okay, so switching gears, I think probably the best thing for us to talk about right now is we're going to go AK, then we're going to hit Lucid, and then we're going to end with Wiz. So hang in there. So AK, you're our scholarship man. You're, as it's been said multiple times, you are the father of the modern scholarship. And I really want to kind of hear your take. Are you still increasing your scholarship pool? Do you still feel like it's worthwhile at this point at 6 cents? Oh no, SLP. How do you feel like those are going? Give us your thoughts about scholarships, where they are, where they're headed, what you think are the downsides of them, what you think could be improved.
Yeah. So I guess for context, I started my scholarship on September 7th, so we were just over a year old now, of 2020, and at the time, SLP was around 2 cents, and the idea of it was, hey, it's great to be able to actually earn a return on these Axies. Because they're just sitting in my account otherwise, right? I had a bunch of Axies that were just kind of around. So for me, I actually hadn't been breeding for the last couple months as much. Partially, I guess, personal reasons. I was moving, among other things, and just didn't have as much time to dedicate to breeding and doing my normal things. Recently, I've started breeding a lot more again, and a lot of for me, my, I guess, fundamental belief is that Axie will still be here in a year. Axie will still be here in 2 years and 5 years, right? And if the team didn't believe that, they wouldn't be working on it either, right? And so because of that, it means that we can really just think of scholarships as generating yield, and nothing. The SLP price really only matters when you're choosing to sell your SLP, one, and two, when you're thinking about, okay, how much yield am I going to get off of these Axies, right? And when you're thinking about it like that, even running the numbers today, even if you were to buy Axies off the market, not even breeding, it's still a phenomenally rewarding and beneficial thing to do from a financial perspective, number one, and number two, from a sort of humanitarian and fun perspective as well. That being able to bring in new members of the community, being able to sort of grow and expand the game, and to have a say in who those people are, and being able to sort of build and create the the world that you want to see, right? We may not be able to do that RuneScape style yet, but we certainly can onboard and bring in people who we think are good additions. And I see you have very small up on the screen there, my little cheat sheet. Yes, we'll make it big. I'll actually toss this in the chat here as well, because it is. You probably can go to File, make a copy if you want to tinker around with it yourself. But basically, this is me sitting down and doing the math on. Hey, so I guess I lied. Maybe I am a math tiger. But
yeah,
hey,
we weren't buying it.
How rewarding is this, right? And so I essentially just went in and said, okay, we're going to give 20 energy. We have some win rate. That means we have some MMR, which is sort of scaled up with, let's say, the team price, right? The idea that, hey, we can, get better Axies, get more meta teams, for higher costs. And so you can tinker around with the sheet and with the formulas and so on to see, how rewarding is it on a daily basis? Is it still worthwhile, right? I actually in here right now have the settings that I have is at 261 days playing. We can of course look at that as 365 if everybody's playing every day. So you can really mess around with this and sort of look at, hey, what are the returns and how worthwhile is it at 6-cent SLP? What I will say, I guess, spoiler alert, is that you are making back your money certainly in less than a year, and most of the time, even a few months before that. And again, this comes back to the core belief that as long as you believe that Axie will be here and exist and still be a thriving economy in 3 months, 6 months, and so on, then these numbers should hold true. This should it shouldn't be a concern. And so really, where I see people, I guess, getting stressed out, getting frustrated, is when they bought at the top, right? And when they really wanted to get in and they paid a higher price. But even still, just because you paid a higher price doesn't mean that you are not going to get any return. It might just take a little bit longer, right? And so these numbers, obviously, you don't take the numbers that are in here as gospel. I was tinkering around with it earlier, so some of the numbers may even be probably potentially wrong. But you can make of it what you will, and adjust it yourself. And I am certainly not a financial advisor, but this is a framework to think about some of the decisions that you're making.
Excellent.
And I guess I saw in the chat Newfound asked the question about scholars wanting better Axies. Just quickly on that, yeah. I actually just over the last couple of days have been sending off a bunch of Axies to old scholarship accounts that hadn't been sort of touched or improved in a long time, and so essentially trying to equip everybody with good enough Axies to be competitive, and ideally hitting at least, let's say, 1500 MMR, and many people hopefully around 2000. So
yeah, I've been doing the same thing. I'll admit, AK, like that, it makes the most sense. Your numbers just showed us that the better your scholars perform, the better it is for them, and the better it is for your team.
Yeah, exactly. And it's something that I've, I guess, been a bit slow to do, just with my move and with sort of restarting breeding, and getting a feel for what's good right now. It took a bit of time, but I did still finish, I think, like 300th or something this past season. So I still play a little.
Yeah. Good job. That's great. That's an incredible thing.
Yeah.
So if you could make a change to how scholarships were handled, would you want them to be handled like directly through the team through a dashboard? Or I guess if you could see major changes, or even simple changes, I guess, what do you think could improve the way scholarships are handled now? I guess how could they be better?
Yeah, so honestly, my least favorite part of running a scholarship is and has always been dealing with multi-accounters. I give reasonably good teams or good teams. I give 65% of the SLP earned to the scholars, and for them to then turn around and multi-account and lie and deny it and so on. Just is frustrating and unpleasant, and the risk to my own axes of that of getting banned that requires that I really go like chase after and police multi-accounting is something that I really wish I didn't have to do. I really wish that this was something that Sky Mavis could at least be able to help with, or be able to handle in a way that makes either multi-accounting less of a concern for managers, as well as making it less, to some extent, less of a need to multi-account, right? That you have one account that's tied to your Axie profile, and that that's sort of that's your thing, right? And perhaps it is based on the fact that your account has been around a while, right? A new account maybe has less earning potential, or has less reputation, or however it is structured, so that there's some incentive not to be multi-account. But yeah, so that's really, I guess, my biggest pain point. Always has been. And so if that means Sky Mavis building their own scholarship tools dashboard, however it might work, that would be something that I think would be beneficial. The parts that are harder to replace are the sort of community and guild elements, and I think that's where the idea of a scholarship, the idea of having people who are sort of in your corner playing with your Axies, and who you've sort of brought into the game, really makes a big difference there.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, hey, we're gonna
yeah,
keep
and
yeah. Go ahead.
One last quick thing.
Yeah, you're fine.
So on the, I saw in the chat people were asking, wouldn't KYC help? The answer is no. It's incredibly easy to fake KYC, and there's all sorts of other fun issues around actually taking and storing, or keeping people's private information. I try hard not to do that when I can help it. My application form, I ask people to send just a short video saying hello AK and nothing else, and that's about as much as I'm personally comfortable with. And even those I normally delete, certainly when the scholar leaves, but often even just sort of once they're in and have been around a while. So KYC is not a great solution, and can't really solve this problem very easily.
Well, and you don't even talk about like how you can be held accountable for leaking information of anybody who KYC'd to you.
Yeah.
So like there's
It's
so
like
much
HIPAA
that's
similar
involved
to,
of
yep.
like, yeah, there's so much that's involved of like getting information from somebody that is not known to anybody else, that you're held accountable for if something happens to.
Yeah, it's
So,
terrible when these big financial institutions have breaches, data breaches. We certainly don't want to
yep,
have to deal with stuff like
they get
that.
sued. They get sued big time.
Yep.
Like big time. Ledger's a big company that got sued for information leak, and you can
I'd
only
like to sue.
imagine. Yeah, you can only. Yeah,
I
no
get
shit,
texts and
right?
emails on an almost daily basis as a result
Yeah,
of
no
that.
shit.
Yeah.
You can
It's
understand
awful.
what it would be like for somebody who is I say smaller, but I don't believe any of us are smaller, but like smaller on that type of scale. If we got caught up in a KYC investigation like that, that would be like think of taxes times 30, and we're all over here worried about taxes, and then a KYC information leaks, and then we have to worry about that. So
Yeah.
KYC does not really solve anything, in my opinion.
So let's change gears just a little bit. And Lucid, I'm going to be asking you some questions next, because Axie all of us here, we're all Axie Maxis, Lucid included, and we're really, really excited about where Axie's going, what's happening now actually, and where things are going. Just to be very, very clear, like nobody loves that SLP is down. Like it's so weird. Like there's people in Twitter space and in Discord and different places that are all like acting like the team, and some of the older style or people who've been around like are happy that the SLP price is down. That's just bullcrap. Like everybody benefits when the SLP price goes up. There's nobody that's out there rooting for SLP to go down. Okay, so but economic modeling is hugely important, and one of the reasons that I think that we need to be patient with SLP price has to do with what I wanted to ask Lucid about, and that is, Lucid. I've seen you. I think you have a subduck in your Discord. You definitely have been involved and at least looked at different NFT spaces, different NFT games, and so forth. Like, so what do you think about that? Do you have any projects like you can compare Axie to? There's like CyberKongs. There's other types of things out there that are pretty cool. There's also some that are kind of sucky. But I'd love to hear kind of your analysis with the kind of more broader crypto space, comparing Axie to what's out there.
I have some notes here, and I actually kind of wanted to do them backwards in terms of what I see for the future of Axie, since I'm piggybacking off of AK with the scholarship conversation.
Perfect.
I mentioned in the chat, I've recently started a scholarship with some friends. I believe Rancourt's in the chat. But we're taking a semi-different approach to it. We do have some of the classic scholarships, like just playing to earn, but we're trying to push esports and join, tournaments and stuff, and see that as a big upside to the future of Axie. And not only the fact that you can make esports out of this and a new type of esports, but it's a good opportunity to form teams into the future. And so yeah, comparing to other projects in that sense, I mean, there's, in terms of like actual product and what's out there to play or do in other projects, as there isn't really anything to compare. Axie has a game, has competition, has people to compete against, and an actual economy. And
hey, so one question, Lucid.
not
Sorry to interrupt you in your train of thought, but
yeah.
like, so we see CyberKongs having basically 100 Ethereum, Genesis CyberKongs having 100 Ethereum minimum, Bored Apes and punks and all these sorts of things. Like, you look at Mystic Axies and they have substantial rarity, especially when you get multiple part Mystic Axies. Like, I'm just kind of wondering, like, doesn't it feel like you just said, there really isn't a space that has a better game in existence right now. So why do you think like Mystics seem to be trailing behind some of the major PFP projects? Or do you have thoughts about that?
My opinion on profile picture projects is, they're simple. It's easy to just ape in and buy a profile picture. I do like Kongs and I do like ducks, and there's a lot of other things I'm involved with. I try to dip my toes into every NFT project that I can and research the other ones that I don't have the time for or money. So yeah, it's nice that their prices are going up, and I support that. There's a bright future in Kongs with Sandbox. But in terms of why Mystic Axies are kind of lagging behind in price, I think a lot comes down to the complexity involved in Axie itself. It's not just buy this thing and you earn passive income and hope that the value of your thing goes up because other people do stuff. There's a lot involved. There's a lot of moving parts. There's SLP, AXS, the Axes themselves. We haven't even gotten into evolving or what Mystic parts will become.
Oh, no.
The the next version of battles. So there's a lot involved with Axies, and those who have been here for a long time and have talked to the team and been following along know that it's a very good prospect and something you want to hold. But from the outside perspective, I can only imagine the complexity is intimidating, maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
And so
That's kind of funny, Lucid. Like,
maybe though,
because there's development updates, because there's a white paper, because there's a roadmap, that actually makes it more of a challenge to look at.
If I could add to that, if you don't mind, I
yeah,
do believe that, one of the reasons why Mystic Axie single, double, triples aren't seeing the same type of love that everything else is, I love Ronin, but Ronin, I believe that, people are scared. Scams going on and transferring your Ethereum to another chain is something that people aren't used to. So I think that once people understand that Ronin is sustainable, not only sustainable, but a growth market, it'll be a lot easier to see, single Mystic Axes right now are like 27 ETH or whatever it is, and double are around like 80 or 90. I think it'll be a lot easier to see them double, at least in my opinion. I do believe that, the transfer from the Ethereum network to Ronin sidechain really holds back. You were talking about like um not necessarily bad things to say about Axie that's going on, but things that are holding it back a little bit from other profile picture projects. But I think that people not understanding that Ronin is sustainable
Mm.
holds it back a little bit. And as it grows, I do believe we'll see the growth of Axie singles, mystics, doubles, and triples grow along with it.
Yeah, I think that, and I'm going to throw it back to Lucid, but I'm going to also kind of make a comment as I throw it back to you, Lucid, and that is, do you think if Mystics were just kind of able to be bridged back to main chain, do you think we'd see a price point increase significantly, or do you have thoughts about that?
I mean, like in terms of the Ronin, um, element of it, I think it just adds to what I was saying about the complexity, where um, a lot of people. I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, but it's just kind of like a get in, get out kind of flip or make money where you can. And when you add extra layers to that, whether it be a different blockchain or uh, actual utility elements, they do increase the value, in my opinion, because they're actually something you can use and play with now and into the future. But there's a lot of people out there just for quick money, and yeah, I mean, everyone's afraid of scams if they're brand new to crypto and don't know who Axie is, where they've been, what they've gone through, and what they've built so far. Then I can imagine it's a difficult jump. There's a lot of research getting into Axies, so um, and I think that may play a role in bridging back to Ethereum. I don't know how much it would help. I think you know it there's a long way to go in Axie, and like it said frequently, we're in alpha. I'd even say early access, like a lot of games. If you buy a game on Steam, they do this thing that called early access now instead of alpha or beta, and you get to play early on and help the team in the process. But um, Axie is a place where we have a game, we can do something, we can earn, and is forging a path through play to earn that up till really last year didn't exist. So there's these other projects out there, and they make promises that it's really easy to drum up hype now to say we're going to be play to earn, we have a token, yada yada. But actually delivering on that promise is something that we have to see from them. and there's just a lot of speculation given the bull market going on. So
excellent. Yeah. So anything
make
else you wanted to add?
I did have a thing about the copycats.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, there's two different types of copycats out there, in my opinion. The first is like not really a copycat, but like I was saying, Axie is forging the play to earn environment that never existed until this past year. And there's a lot of people using that structure to build a game of their own with their own intellectual property, and uh, I think that's great. I think it's great that we're getting more people interested in building and creating other games for people to have options. I don't know about you, but I don't just play one game.
Yeah.
I float around. There's games that I constantly go back to, all the way back to 2001. There's games that I still play from time to time. But it's good to have a variety so you don't get burnout and things don't get stale. But then there's the other ones, and I'm not going to speak names. They're just straight up copies. And they don't even attempt to conceal that fact. They just, they're trying to pretend they're Axie 2 somewhere else with a different project and saying that they're going to deliver the same things. But just like if you were to buy a fake watch or a fake sunglasses or anything like that, they're typically made out of cheap materials. They don't have the provenance, like where if you're talking about collectibles, and even if it were made out of the same materials but not made by the same people, it doesn't have the same collectability. But also, they don't have the community that Axie has built. They've been through a full bear market.
Absolutely.
Like, there've been a lot of ups and downs, and the vision and the care of execution that they put into their product is just unmatched in anything I've seen. So
Excellent.
touching one of those, I feel is dangerous, but
Cool. Man, thanks, Lucid. Hey, there was a question in the chat that I kind of wanted to address as I move over to have Wiz give us his wisdom. I really, my experience as we went through bear markets, as we've seen things go down, and this is kind of in general, I think is a relatively, I don't know, reasonable way to approach things. But again, not financial advice. You do whatever the hell you think you should do. Do it smartly, please. But as assets values decline, it makes sense, if you believe they're going to go up, to acquire them rationally as they decline. And then as asset values go up, it makes sense to rationally let go of some of those assets as they rise so that you can, profit. And I want to see people profit. I definitely like to see things happening that are good for the world. I think that if there is profit, there can be things that other people can benefit from as well. So I guess my answer is, in bear markets, and I've said this on Twitter, so it's nothing new. In bear markets, it's a time to acquire. And so if you think that we're in a down market, or you think we're in a bear market, that's do the opposite of what your fear is telling you, but be wise. I mean, don't be idiots. But so talking about that stuff, talking about some of these assets, talking about the future of the space, Wiz, I wanted to hear, because you kind of jumped into the space. It was a fun time. Your RuneScape love was showing as you hopped into the space too. And just kind of tell me how you evaluated it. You snagged an awesome Genesis plot that's really, I love it because we're neighbors, brother. I think that's so cool that we have plots right next to each other, my man. And kind of tell me your thought process, and is it the same today as it was then, and how do things move forward for you?
All right, so first, Mr. Ice King, I just want to say, everybody in the chat just let me know that my Mystic sold. My Mystic Axie just got sold. What a coincidence. I need to go delist the other one. But to answer your question, Basically, what was your question again? I'm sorry, I'm
Mostly
kind of
like just
euphoric right now.
you just again got some cool profits. So I'm assuming you're gonna
You got to lay off that Japanese whiskey, brother.
yeah.
All right.
Congrats, my man. I guess that was a
Thank
good
you. Thank you. Okay, so I remember your question.
yeah.
So basically, what happened is when I got into the Axie Discord, I changed my username in the marketplace to, for all you OGs out there, Zezima. And Zezima was the most valuable player in RuneScape. And I changed my username to Zezima, and then I bought the Genesis land, and the entire Discord was going crazy. I got hundreds of messages asking like, "Are you the real Zezima? Are you the real Zezima?" And then I got, you know, I got a flashback of all those days I used to skip school to play RuneScape, and I saw that with Axie. I saw the vision from the team. Most importantly, the community is what stood out to me, and I think that's what's going to solidify Axie as a stable in blockchain gaming is because how tight the community is with each other and brothers. Like I personally feel like we're all family, you know. We all get on here, we all talk, we spread wisdom, but most importantly it's all love, you know. At the end of the day, we have each other's backs. And that's what a gaming community is built on, and I think that's what's some very very strong with Axie, and that's what's going to continue to stick out as an outlier. And you can't mimic that, you can't copy that, and that's what I'm excited for the future of this game. And I'm also excited for esports, clan wars, dungeon raids,
Oh,
boss battles,
oh man, oh man.
all of the good stuff that we hope and aspire that the Sky Mavis team is going to deliver for us. And also another thing that I think about is Axie's a three-headed monster that's quickly taking over the world. And something that a lot of people forget is the gaming the developers here, they want to give back to the community. They want to put the power of the game into our hands. You know, they want to give all the money back that we made them, and they want to give us the rights to all of our assets. But in order to do so, it has to be centralized first. So a lot of people are throwing shame at them for the price of SLP, and you know it's disgusting because at the end of the day, we're a family, and if you're here to build, stick around. And as you can see, like a lot of us, we're rewarded and we're happy, and we will continue to reap the benefits of everything that's happening. And we're going to continue to push for the revolution of Axie Infinity and anything else that the Sky Mavis team pushes out. Because we believe in them, and most importantly, they believe in us as a community. And yeah, that's the short answer. But also, I wanted to add, what we're gonna see is, I think, a shift from legacy occupations or jobs to the play to earn model
Yes.
that we're seeing with Axie and then some other blockchain play to earn games. So, for example, imagine you logging into Axie once land gameplay launches, and you are a fisher. You go out to your roadside plot, you're fishing for lobster or whatever items or whatever animals we're catching, and we're cooking them and we're creating potions. Or say for example we're a
Consumables.
miner and
Yep.
we're smithing, and we're creating gold bars, and then the gold bars get turned into necklaces that have bonuses so for chimera boss battles. um, that's what I'm looking forward to, because that's when this becomes much more funner than it is right now. And this is the whiskey talking, but cheers to everybody here, and cheers
I,
to the
I was about to
community,
say,
and
brother,
also
not to
most importantly,
interrupt you or anybody, but
yeah,
man,
yeah,
I
go
just
ahead,
poured a
go ahead.
shot for your sale.
I don't have
Man, that's
anything.
fucking
Damn it.
awesome. Cheers,
I'm
brother.
euphoric, guys. I'm sorry, I messed up a little bit, but you know, I'm happy to be here. I love you all, and I'm looking forward to the growth and the future of this community. And it's exciting times ahead, man.
I think
Upwards and
something
onward. Up
Heck,
I
only.
think something that was barely hit on in this entire conversation that Lucid talked about a little bit was Axie Infinity built during the bear market.
yes.
You know, and everybody's euphoric currently because of all the crazy shit going on with profile pictures, Board Ape Yacht Club, and I love CyberKongs as much as the next person. CyberKongs because they're part of all the euphoric hype. Animetas. I can go on and on with all the profile picture hypes that are going on right now. Fucking Animist, which have a fucking utility token just like CyberKongs do, but that's not gonna last. I don't know if you've looked into it, but in my opinion, Axie Infinity built during the bear market, like literally built while everything died. You
Yeah.
know,
Yep.
if anybody does a little bit of like history, like just take a look at it.
Yep.
The only thing that really survived during the bear market was punks, and punks
It didn't
was really
thrive.
low.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
didn't
they didn't
thrive.
thrive.
It survived.
And
Yeah.
and Axie Infinity built the entire time. So when all this money, assuming the bear market hits within the next 6 months, which it probably will, assuming that Axie Infinity has already experienced what a bear market is like. And not only have they experienced it, they have now a community that's over 1 million people that are willing to continue to thrive during a bear market. Even if, like I spoke about the infographic that Turd placed earlier about a 2.5 cent SLP price from a year ago.
Yeah.
SLP was like a half a cent, at one point in time. Even if SLP gets to that point, Axie's still going to be building.
Yeah. Well,
Not
I
only
mean,
will they be
that
building,
I posted something like that on Twitter specifically saying like, hey, history tells
Yep.
us that
Absolutely.
Axie's going to be great. And one of the comments, which I thought was absolutely, pretty much spot on, and that is, this is a game, and that's what makes it different than like DeFi or other
Mm-hmm.
types of things. People are still going to want to play this game. People are still going to be excited about what happens. And, I share Wiz's vision for sure when it comes to
Absolutely.
what we hope to see in the future and long term. I'm going to go ahead and give it over to Enjoi because he's been so patient through this
Has,
whole
man.
thing.
I've been watching him nod his head and just like smile and laugh and love this entire conversation.
Yeah, I
Thanks, guys.
want to
Thanks.
hear Enjoy's thoughts. And before I do that, though, I just want to say thanks to our panel. Thanks for everybody who came on. Thanks for your comments. I think it's just been a great time. And Enjoy, what are your thoughts, my man?
Yeah, I'm kind of, again, I haven't been talking a whole lot tonight. We've got some guests on, and I want to hear their thoughts. And thanks again, guys, for jumping on tonight. I've been watching chat and kind of seeing how people are reacting to the different topics of conversation, and what's most interested to people. I went on a couple weeks ago. I did a stream by myself while baronar was out. And I talked about the different types of users for Axie. I probably missed a few, but we've got the gamers, we've got the grinders, we've got the investors. There's all these different types of people, and all of us are interested in a different thing. It seems like a lot of the people who have been around for more than a year are really driven towards this this idea of the land game play and what this all can become. The kind of the crypto. The future of crypto and how this can how Axie can bring that to the world. But I'm seeing a lot of interest in just kind of shooting the shit about what could land actually look like. I'm seeing a lot of people who are interested in just the collectible side of things. So I'm kind of, again, I'm paying attention to this, and I'm more trying to figure out how to gear our future conversations just to be more interesting to people. But I've loved the conversation tonight. I think that these guys again bring a lot of insight and a lot of different perspective to the conversation. And I just put out a tweet as well. Somebody was asking how they could follow along. Follow these guys on Twitter and see what they're interested in and get a little bit more of that perspective down the line. So I did just put that out from the Axie Chat podcast Twitter account. So go ahead, hit that up if you guys want to follow along. Again, we've got all the panelists tonight. Unfortunately, Small Brown Doge couldn't meet us here tonight, but I've thrown him in there too, just as just
definitely worth a follow,
just to show the history. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, so again, I think it was a great episode. A lot of good content.
Yeah, no question. So we do have something we wanted to show off. Should I do it? Are we ready?
Yeah,
Hell
man.
yes.
Let's
Please,
do it.
please do it.
All right, here we go. Oh, I've got to just 1 second. Hey,
So,
hey.
and just a
Before we wrap up, I'd like to have a closing statement.
Okay,
If that's
hold on just
possible.
1 second. So
Yes, sir.
if you're listening, you cannot see this, but if you are here on stream, you should be able to see. Enjoi, tell us about this.
Yeah, this is our Q4 Axie Chat members pass. So our current Q3 is wrapping up in the next 2 weeks. This one will go on sale at during the podcast next week, so keep an eye out. And this will give us access to the Axie Chat Discord and all private streams as well. So after this stream, we always have a hour or 2 hour long, just kind of happy hour talking about the economy. Gets way more into detail about what's actually going on in the Axie economy. But man, we've had a lot of great conversations over the last 2 quarters that we've been doing this. Honestly, this Arctic, thanks again for running that art contest. This was done by Clavin XS Art on Twitter. Just an amazing artist. Again, one of the goals here for me and baronar has always been to kind of raise up other streamers, other artists. And I'm loving that we're able to
100%.
give some business to some of these people. But man, amazing art. Can't wait to turn this into a poster and get it on the wall behind me. Really looking forward to getting this out there.
Yeah, okay, and I do want to just tell everybody again, thanks so much for joining us tonight. And briefly, because we're kind of far over our normal time frame.
Way over.
Yeah, we're all, it's all good. It's great. This has been worth it for sure. So let's start.
We should do this. We should do this every other week.
That said, like somebody who isn't trying to produce and handle and put all this stuff together.
I'm just enjoying myself. I'm gonna be honest with you, baronar. This has
I'm
been
glad,
so much
man.
fun.
Yeah.
Hearing everybody talk.
Let's get
Like,
baronar to handle that part, and
brother,
I'm down.
I watch the
as long as
stream
baronar-
every time
Thank
y'all
you.
have it. I watch like this is the only stream
Wow.
I played video games for years and stopped. And this is the only stream that I watch every time you're open. Like every time you're open, I watch this stream. And it has nothing to do with me being like an Axie early person or anything like that. It's because you and Enjoi do such a great job
Thanks, my man. Wow.
explaining and trying to chat with everybody that what's going on. And there's nobody else in this space, and I'm all over the space that does anything near what you two do, and it's actually incredible. It's pretty fucking incredible. I'm gonna be honest
Thanks,
with you, man.
That means a ton, man.
Oh, yeah,
Appreciate
it's
that.
huge. Yeah, thanks.
So, what I wanted to say was, like, everybody's focused on SLP. Like everybody, a large portion of people are focused on SLP. But that's just the beginning. Literally the beginning of Axie. If
Like
you
it was an
look back on,
experiment. Like it was the very
Bro,
beginning.
if you look back on auto battles and when they transferred from auto battles to SLP earnings, it was an experiment, and that's exactly it. Like that is the nail on the head. So, man, like Trung, G-Hose, Psych Out, Massimmune, all those people that are involved currently in Axie that people really don't know too much about, they're incredible. Like, and I don't say that because I love Axie. I say that because I've been involved in all of the projects that are going on right now in the NFT space. Profile picture projects, gaming projects, all of them. And none of the people that give updates that these people on Twitter talk about are shit. And I really hate to say that, but they're not. They're anonymous developers that have never done anything during a bear market. And when the bear market hits, it's my opinion, obviously, they're going to take that money and run. because
Yeah,
that's what
there's nothing
people
wrong with
do during a bear market.
shaking people out. It really makes the difference between people who are just here trying to turn a quick buck and the people who truly believe in
Absolutely,
the long
baronar.
term.
And
Yep.
that's why I love you and Enjoy's stream so much. And
Thanks,
that's
man.
why I tune in every time, because you guys give valid information and are not afraid to talk about what people don't want to hear. Like not only the developers, but like you all are willing to talk about like what the community, whether or not, non-spoken people, whether or not they want to talk about it or not, like y'all aren't afraid to talk about that shit on your stream.
Yeah.
And that's important to me. Um, and, and it's not because I'm a Axie Maxi, because that's what people call me. Because I'm not. I'm not an Axie Maxi. I love Axie Infinity, but I'm involved in so many projects, and there's just not a project that touches, like, with a 10-foot pole, what the developers of Axie has done. And that is what it is.
Yep. That's
We've
just
all
facts.
been here.
Yep.
All of us in this conversation right here have been here during the bear market. Every single one of us. We were here when Ethereum was $170, when Ethereum was $300, and we saw how things went, and we saw how the Massimmune, Trung, and everybody developed things progressively, not slowly, progressively, as things went parabolic.
Yeah.
I guess is the best
No,
word to use.
you're right,
As
Enforcer.
things
And
went,
just on that point, like I really believe like they have a lot of stuff that is ready. It's actually, I think they take the roadmap seriously. I really do believe they take that roadmap seriously. And I Turd showing off his plushie there. But it doesn't do anybody any good if they drop the decks tomorrow and the servers can't handle that level
absolutely.
of impact. It doesn't do anybody any good if Ronan is not quite up to the task for those things.
I
So
saw AK's face. I
yeah.
saw it. Sorry.
we we
No, you're absolutely right, and that's another thing that people don't talk about, because like there's roadmaps out the, excuse my French, out the ass. There's literally roadmaps that talk about so much stuff, yacht clubs, like
sure.
we're gonna have this Miami party and everything. Actually, does not talk about any of that. They literally just deliver over and over again. And I've been here for 3 years, and they have delivered over and over again for 3 years.
I
It
love it.
does not matter.
Absolutely love it. Hey, all right. Any other final thoughts that people want to give?
I got one thing I wanted to say. It's like it's like it's a little reflection. I always love doing like just a little self reflection, but it's like I just love this community. It's like the large majority of crypto interactions that are done. I mean, just in this space, the crypto space in general are done anonymously, and this look at what we're doing right here currently, and just like the community we formed, and like over this past couple of years, I've made some created some amazing relationships with people, and like I trust these people, and I've like these people have created their word I'm looking for, just like rapport that they don't want to tarnish, and like it's a very like upstanding community, and I just love it. That's what we're
You know,
doing here. I never in a million years thought I would enter the crypto space. Like I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm just trading coins, but then I end up here, and it's amazing, and it's just something that just blows me away every time I think about it.
one of the cool things about the way the blockchain works is the transparency, and also if you're being intelligent, the you have your own responsibility to handle your own assets. So what's so cool about that in a way is that then you can partner with anonymous or people that you don't know that well across the world. In this case, Axie, we have people that, I mean, I deal with people that are all over the world, and because of the way the blockchain works, you can work together and you can form groups or partnerships. You can do DAOs. There's all sorts of things that can happen. And then what comes, Turd, is people's natural innate values. Those are what show up. because now you can kind of engage with people in a less risk type of situation. I mean, you understand the risk, I guess I should say, but now we can all as a community work together for Axie Infinity to build it, make it something big. And that's one of the great things about the blockchain. That's what's going to be so awesome
amazing,
about
man.
land, man. That
I fucking love this. We got to do this
Amazing.
once a month, brother. Seriously, Baronar, we have to do this once a month.
you guys are so awesome. So yeah, great.
Can
I've
we
had a
take
great time.
Can we take a shot to end the stream?
Do it. Let's do it. Big
All right,
shot.
all right. Let me go-
I
let-
just
let
have
me go get
water
it.
on
One
me
second.
right now. We all know that. So
1 second.
everybody ready? We'll just
No.
We'll trust that Arctic and Lucid have their stuff ready to go too.
I have some water ready.
Yeah, that's all I have too on me right now. It is
Come on,
apparently
Arctic.
smart.
A little bit ago.
Arctic, you've already doxed yourself, brother. Fucking drink something.
I'm not sure if Arctic has.
I
has
have
video.
water here.
Perfect.
All right, water
Yeah.
works. Water works.
All right,
Water
hey,
will do.
hey, everybody. Does somebody want to offer a toast, or do we just want to say cheers and well wishes to the future? How's that?
I'll certainly offer a toast for
Do
sure.
it, man.
Hold on 1 second. Let me pour this shit. Look, Baronar, Enjoi, I really do appreciate you having me on. This has been incredible. I know everybody in the stream knows what I have going on personally, but this
Dude, I'm glad you're here.
has been something I've looked forward to since you asked me to do it. I love what you and Enjoi do every week.
Thanks, man.
And I watch it. I watch it every week. And that's coming from somebody who played video games all the time, stopped watching streams, stopped watching everything, but I still watch you all. And that's because I love Axie Infinity, and I
Axie hard,
believe in what Axie Infinity and Sky Mavis is doing. And that, people will probably accuse me of knowing G-Hose or Psych Out personally, but I don't. I don't know G-Hose or Psych Out more than anybody in this chat, actually. I don't talk to them more than anybody in this chat. I don't discuss with them anybody, any more than anybody in this chat. But I believe in what they're doing, and I know that they will follow through with everything they've asked. And to that, I cheers everybody in the stream. We have 800 people. Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
800 people in the stream.
Thank you.
Enjoy,
Cheers.
Baronar. Y'all do
Cheers.
incredible work. Turd, AK, Arctic, Lucid. Thank you guys. Thank y'all so much. Everybody have a
Cheers.
wonderful night.
Thank you.
So much love here.
Appreciate it, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers,
bro.
guys. Axie hard.
Axie hard. All right, hey everybody.
Yes,
Axie
sir.
hard.
It feels
Yes,
like
cheers.
it should never end, but we're gonna bring it to an end. Again, thank
Went
you
by so
so
quick.
much, everybody who's joined us. And yeah, hey again, Axie hard. Have a great night in Lunacia. Enjoy. Thanks, my man.
Take care, everybody.
All
Have a
right.
good night.
Have a great one.
Good night.
Have a great night.